Before we dive into the topic of this video, I just wanted to mention that you can find a lot of free, helpful ClickUp resources down below in the description to this video. And if you need help setting up ClickUp for your team, you can also find the link to schedule a call with me in the comment section below. With that said, let's get back to the topic of this video. Now let's review ClickUp Workspace Integrations and ClickApps, which is part of the ClickUp Workspace Settings. And again, as we already reviewed the workspace settings such as My Settings, Admin Settings, and Workspace Feature Settings, now we're going to dive into the next part, which is Integrations and ClickApps that you can find by navigating to the top left corner, clicking Settings. It's going to take you again to the Settings section over here, and then you have the Integrations and ClickApps over here. Let's just click through this and understand what each of them really means and what it does. So first of all, the App Center. We are already familiar with ClickApps because we use them when we set up different things for ClickUp tasks. We also reviewed that when we set up things on the space level in the All Space Settings section, if you remember. But let me just quickly walk you through the ClickApps and what they are. So basically, ClickApps is a way for ClickUp to create add-ons for your ClickUp workspace. So if you think about this, you know, there is a basic functionality in ClickUp that you're using like tasks, statuses, custom fields. And then there is an additional functionality, which is some sort of an add-on that you can build on top of what is already working in ClickUp. So if you look and logging into App Center, some of these app features are related to the ClickUp features, which means if you remember, we reviewed the ClickUp feature, which was a ClickUp, which was about subtasks. So you can see if I type in the subtask, you can see nested subtasks. So again, this is a ClickUp that enables a specific functionality inside your ClickUp platform. There is also a different one which we reviewed for rescheduling the dependencies. All right, so this is a different ClickUp, which if enabled, allows you to reschedule dependencies. Now, some of these ClickUps are already enabled in your ClickUp account, so you don't really need to worry. But if you want to look in more detail, what are those that are available there and are not still enabled, and what are all the like add-ons that you can add to your ClickUp, you can navigate to the App Center, and over here, you can basically see all of them. Now, part of them are ClickApps, which are some sort of like a native integration. So you can see the ClickUp for Figma, Google Calendar, for your Google Drive, for your Jira. So again, those things can be connected from inside ClickUp, and you can easily find them here. Click on Connect. It's going to take you to a different page, and you'll be able to go through the steps that it prompts you to do. Again, each of these ClickApps does something different, so I'm not going to go in more detail of like which each one of them does, but I just wanted to give you an opportunity to see all of them. And again, if you're looking for something to like for some sort of additional integration or add-on, you can easily find it here. So when you're thinking about, oh, it would be cool to have this in ClickUp, I would recommend you going into ClickApps and just simply typing this thing over here, whatever you're looking for. It might be here, it might be not, but again, in most cases, you can see there are a lot of things that you can integrate. The Salesforce calendar, the Google Calendar, the Drive, and integrate Chrome. So again, each one of them, as I said, does something different. You just need to open one of them, and you can see attach Dropbox files to tasks and search for Dropbox files directly within ClickUp. By the way, this one works, I think, with ClickUp AI as well. So if you're linking Dropbox or Google Drive, it's also going to search when you're using AI, search through the documents in Dropbox. So over here on the left-hand side, you have different versions. You have featured, you have different agents, calendars, cloud storages, communications. So it's just broken down nicely for you, so you can find these add-ons and then connect them to your ClickUp account. For example, one of the most popular ones are time tracking, right? If you're using your Hapstaff or Harvest to track time, or Time Doctor or whatever to track time, and you want that to be integrated with the tasks you have in ClickUp, here we go. You find it in ClickApps and you enable that inside ClickApps here. You can find over here in ClickApps down below that these are all the things related, as I told you, to the ClickUp kind of internal ClickApps, which enable some functionalities and features inside ClickUp. You can find them, again, you can see AI and search, again, those are enabled. Collaboration, you can find chat, Griffy, email, default preview use. There are a lot of things that you can find here, and again, the best way to do it is just basically go and look through all these items and find and figure out if you want to use some of them. Again, I would not spend a lot of time because this can become like really a time waste. You can spend hours looking through this and testing them out. I think most of the important ones I already showed you in this course when we reviewed main functionalities. If there is something additional that you want to set up, you can always look through them here. You can find even duration here when you're setting up the start and the due date with the duration instead of the due date. Again, you can enable them, but in addition to that, that, you can also disable some of the ClickUps. I think I showed you when we reviewed the ClickUp task that I disabled the priorities. You can disable the custom fields. You can disable the multiple assignees so that you can only assign one person, which is extremely important. You can disable the nested tasks, which we also reviewed, and this way people cannot create subtask for a subtask for a subtask for a subtask if it is too confusing. It is confusing for me. This is why I most of the time disable this for the account. But again, the rest of the things you can either enable or disable. For example, you're not using tags, disable them. You're not using priorities, you can disable them here. Some of the things you can disable, some of the things you can't. So these are basically like part of the ClickUp functionality that they do not allow you to disable. So again, this is just a way for you to look through all these ClickUps, find the ones that you're not using or you want to turn on or off, and basically turn them on over here. Some of the ClickUps, it's important to mention that they are applied on the space level. So if you're turning on this ClickUp, it's going to apply to all the spaces, but you can also decide which spaces you want to disable for this specific ClickUp. So if I want time estimate for one space, but I don't want it for another space, I can select that and I can simply find the spaces, that need time estimate, and those that do not time estimate, set them up over here, and then it's going to be kind of a little bit more flexible. Instead of enabling it for all the spaces, you can enable it for specific spaces. Hopefully that makes sense, because I think I said a lot of words there. And again, a couple of more things for time tracking rollups when you're tracking times in subtasks, total time and status, work in progress limits. All those things can be enabled or disabled, and again, you can find them from navigating the App Center over here. I'm not going through each one of them in more detail. During this kind of lesson, I highlighted the main ones that I use. But again, just because we already covered a lot of functionalities and features and I showed you the ones that I'm using, I don't think it would take like probably a couple of hours to cover all of them. And second of all, maybe very few of them are going to be actually helpful to you. So I don't really want to waste our time here. So this is the ClickApps that you can find from the settings here. Next part is the imports and exports. Now, this might be important to you if you're moving from a different solution into ClickUp. Maybe you've already used Asana before, or Confluence, or Jira, right? And you want to import information, or Monday, or Notion. You want to import information into ClickUp. Now, ClickUp makes it relatively simple to import that information. Just simply need to go to imports over here, imports, exports. Click on the app that you are using. It's going to prompt you to log into the app, or for example, for some of them, it doesn't actually, for example, for Jira, you can see over here, it has different steps. So for each one of them, it's going to have very specific kind of step-by-step guide on what you have to do. Like for Notion, for example, log in there, you go to settings, you export as HTML, you upload it here, and then it exports or imports the data inside your ClickUp account. So again, depending on the tool you're selecting here, you can also select the spreadsheet, which is basically by uploading a CSV file, right? You can simply just select the location. For example, I want to import the admin tasks. I'm going to select it. Let's say year, month, day, continue. And it's going to prompt me to upload the CSV or Excel file in here so I can import these tasks inside my ClickUp list, or maybe I selected ClickUp Space or ClickUp Folder. All right. So this is how you're importing or exporting. And you can also import or export import the document, which is, I think it allows you to import the docs, which is the Word document that you can just upload here, and it's going to convert it to the ClickUp document. And again, that's the probably the easiest version to convert those documents instead of copy pasting, because sometimes formatting doesn't really work when you copy paste it in ClickUp. All right, so these are the settings for the import. And if you come back here, there is also an option to export the tasks, right? When you export it, you again select the location, whether you want a specific list or a folder or a space or the whole workspace, and then it exports that data in a CSV file. I think I even did the export. Let me show you quickly. Here we go. This is the export. So again, it looks something like this. It basically exports all the tasks with the IDs. The task content is, I believe, it's the description. And then you have all this information, the statuses, the assignees, the checklist, which are part of that, the comments, which you imported there. So again, this just gives you the basic information about these tasks. So again, if you're exported for the whole workspace, it's going to show you all the tasks inside that workspace. All right. So closing that and moving on to our ClickUp API. Now, this is something that most of the time is going to be used for more complex integrations. It's not kind of something that you don't need to worry about from the very beginning, but if you're using some applications that for like integration purposes or automations, more complex things like make.com, or maybe you've heard of Zapier, or maybe some other tools, again, you're probably going to need an API token. So this is where you find it. You simply need to go to your settings, ClickUp API, and you're going to need to generate that API and copy and paste it in whatever you're doing in Zapier, Make, or whatever automation tool you're using, all right? And again, from here, you can also control those accesses. So if you can see, I have one connection from Zapier, and I can easily remove it from here. That will basically probably break all my automations, so make sure you're not deleting them. Or I can simply, again, copy the API key and then set it up on Zapier side. I think for most of the automation tools, they're not actually using API token anymore, but they are using the single sign-on. So you would basically give them access by, or it's not called single sign-on, but it's basically you will give access to Zapier to ClickUp from your Zapier account by logging into your ClickUp account, right? So again, it's just, they make it so much easier right now. Then in the email integration, this is again a way for you to send and receive emails within ClickUp. The way it works is you can send emails from within the comment section inside your tasks. And over here, in order to do this, you just need to make sure that you're connecting the account that you want the emails to come from inside ClickUp. As you can see over here, it also gets enabled per space. So you can enable it for some spaces versus the other. And you can also post replies to the emails as threaded replies instead of new comments. So whenever you're sending email from ClickUp and someone replies to that email, that comment is going to automatically populate inside the task. So let me show you actually what that means. So if I were to go and open one of my tasks in ClickUp, right? I think I have this enabled for now, so I should see it in the comment section. So let's just open the comment section. Over here, you'll be able to select if it is a comment that you want to send or if it is an email. And you can see over here, it prompts me to select the email. So if I had that connected over here, then I would be able to just select the email I'm sending the email from, and I would be write down the subject, the body of the email, add a signature, and send that email. Now, whenever someone replies to the email, it comes back and posts that email inside the task as well. So again, it's just a way for you to integrate your email and communication. Instead of switching between Gmail or Outlook and ClickUp, you can send emails from within ClickUp tasks. Sometimes it is helpful, but I don't think for all use cases. So again, you might want to test it out and see if it works for you or not.